Okay, I got the pop-up. Good morning. We are on the reading the book of the 14 lessons. We're on the 7th chapter on human magnetism, page 99. The spinal cord or spinal marrow fills the spinal canal in the vertebral column or backbone. It is a long mass of nerve tissue branching off at several vertebrae to nerves communicating to all parts of the body. The spinal cord is like a great telephone cable, and the emerging nerves are like the private wires connecting therewith. The sympathetic system is composed of double chain of ganglia on each side of the spinal column and scattered ganglia in the head, neck, chest, and abdomen. A ganglion is a mass of nervous matter, including nerve cells. These ganglia are connected with each other by filaments and are also connected with the cerebral spinal system by motor and sensory nerves. From these ganglia, numerous fibers branch out to the organs of the body, blood vessels, etc. At various points, the nerves meet together and form what are known as plexi or plexuses. The sympathetic system practically controls the involuntary processes such as circulation, respiration, and digestion. Over this wonderful system operates the human magnetism or pranic energy or nervous system, if you prefer the term of the physical science. By means of the impulses of the mind through the brain, the magnetism is drawn from its storage batteries and sent to all parts of the bodies and to any particular part of the body over the wires of the nervous system. Without this magnetism, the heart cannot beat, the blood cannot circulate, the lungs cannot breathe, the various organs cannot function. In fact, the entire machinery of the body comes to a stop if the supply of magnetism be shut off. Nay, more, even the brain itself cannot perform its function as a physical organ of the mind unless a supply of prana or magnetism be present. And yet, the physical scientists smile at the mention of the subject of the human magnetism and dismiss it by giving it another name, the nervous force, but limiting its scope. The yogi teachings go further than does Western physical science. Regarding one particular part of the nervous system, we allude to that which physical scientists call the solar plexus or abdominal brain, and which they consider as merely one of the series of certain matted nets of sympathetic nerves which with their ganglia are found in various parts of the body. Yogi science teaches that this solar plexus is really a most important part of the nervous system and that it is the great storehouse of prana, which supplies the minor storage batteries and the entire system. The solar plexus is situated in the epigastric region, just back of the pit of the stomach, on either side of the spinal column. It is composed of white and gray brain matter, similar to that composing the other brains of man. It plays a much more important part in life of man than is generally supposed. Men have been killed instantly by severe blow to this region, and prize fighters recognize its vulnerability and frequently paralyze their opponents by blowing it over it. A name, solar, is well bestowed as, in fact, it does radiate energy and strains to all parts of the body, even the upper brains, depending upon the energy with which to work. Just as the blood penetrates all parts of the systems by means of arteries and smaller blood vessels, terminating in tiny, fine, hair-like vessels called capillaries, and the system thereby kept supplied with rich red blood, building up and repairing the cells of the body and supplying the material required for that endless work of repairing and rebuilding, which is constantly going on in every part of the body under the direction of the faithful servant, the instinctive mind. So does the human magnetism or pranic energy penetrate every portion of the system. By means of this wonderful and complex machinery called the nervous system, which with it complicates systems within systems of cables, wires, relays, storage, batteries, and the like. With, without this magnetism, there could be no life, as even the machinery and apparatus for carrying on of the work of the circulation of the blood depends for the motive power upon this pranic energy. The healthy human body is filled from head to toe with this wonderful force, which keeps its machinery moving and which is used not only on physical, but on the astral plane, as we shall see later on. But it must be remembered that the instinctive mind is back of all this distribution, for it keeps up a continual demand and drought upon the storage batteries of the system for a sufficient supply of magnetism to supply all parts of the body, and only calls for special amount in response to sudden and immediate demand. But the instinctive mind regards the supply and demand question in this continuous drought upon the storage battery and the subsequent sending force of magnetism to all parts of the body. It sends forth only a certain reasonable percentage, of the amount stored, otherwise, it would soon bankrupt the system. If one has an abundant supply of magnetism, the instinctive mind is quite liberal in dis- dispersing the amount. For it is no miser, it is merely prudent, and such a person fairly radiates magnetism so that others coming in contact with him feel the healthy outpouring which leaps beyond the confines of the nervous system and fills the astral atmosphere around him. We have described the human aura in the fourth lesson, and in the same lesson have touched upon the aura of the third principle of prana, which is practically the aura of human magnetism. This aura may be felt by many and seen by those having certain degree of clairvoyant vision. In fact, a good clairvoyant may see the magnetism as it moves along within the nervous system of the person. When in or very near the body, it has a faint rosy tint which leaves as it moves away from the body, a little distance from the body. It resembles a vapory cloud of color and appearance of electric spark, or rather of the radiations from the X ray tube. Clairvoyants see spark like particles of it being shaken from the fingertips of those giving magnetic treatments or mesmeric passes. It is also seen by some persons who do not consider themselves clairvoyants, to whom it appears like a heated air arising from the stove or from the heated ground, like a colorless vapory something pulsating and vibrating. A strong person concentra- a person of strong concentration or trained powers of thought also throws over a considerable amount of magnetism along with the thought waves emanating from his brain. In fact, all thought waves are more or less charged with magnetism, but those of poor concentration and negative character throw off so little that we do not generally take it into consideration as compared to the heavily charged thought waves of the positive or developed person. A great point of difference between the physical scientist and occultist is in the question of possible transference of magnetism or nervous force of the as the physical scientist calls it. The. 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 undoubtedly exists and does all within the body that the oculist claims, yet it is confined to the nervous system and cannot transverse their limits. He consequently denies the existence of much of the phenomena in, incident to the human magnetism and considers the occult teachings as fit only for visionary and imaginative peoples. The occultist, on the other hand, knows by experience that that this magnetism or a nervous force can and repeatedly does traverse the boundaries of the nervous system and is projected at times to the far distances far remote from persons whose system is was stored up. The proof of the teaching is to be found by anyone who will experiment for himself, providing he will divest his mind or pre, prejust and will be willing to accept facts as they are presented to him. I'm having a hard time reading today. Before proceeding further, we wish to again remind our students that this human magnetism is merely a manifestation of form of prana, and that prana is not made to order by people to supply their needs. When one increases the amount of magnetism in a system, he does it by making a fresh supply of it, but by drawing to himself an increased supply of prana from the great source of supply by breathing, eating, or drinking. The amount so absorbed or extracted from air, food, and fluid may be greatly increased by mental desire or willpower, as we presently see. There is there is a certain amount of prana in existence. This amount cannot be added to or diminished. It is unchangeable. It is force. In the fifth lesson, we told you that when a thought is sent forth with strength, it usually carries a considerable amount of prana or magnetism, which gives it additional strength and sometimes produces startling effects. This prana or magnetism practically vitalizes the thought and makes it almost a living force. All positive thought, good or bad, is more or less heavily charged with prana or magnetism. The man of strong will sending forth a vigorous positive thought unconsciously or consciously if he understands the subject, sends it with the supply of prana or magnetism proportion to the force of energy with which the thought is propelled. A thought sent forth when one is laboring under a strong emotion is likewise heavily charged with magnetism. Thoughts so charged are often sent like a bullet to a mark. Instead of drifting along slowly like an ordinary thought emanation, some public speakers have acquired this art and send forth their words with such force that one can fairly feel the impact of thought. A strong, vigorous thinker whose thoughts are heavily charged with prana will sometimes impart such vitality to his thoughts that they will live for a time as thoughts form. That is to say, will possess such vitality from prana with which they are charged that they will become almost living forces. We may have something to say on this subject in the lesson on astral worlds, lesson X. Such thoughts forms come into one's psychic atmosphere, possess almost the same degree of power that would be experienced where the person present in person talking to you. Read over the fifth lesson now that you have learned some little about more about prana, and you will get a clear idea on thought forms. Prana depends very considerably upon the desires and expectations of persons, both in the matter of his absorption and its projection with the thought wave. That is to say, that while every person absorbs more or less prana every moment of his life, and this amount may be largely increased by following the yogi teaching regarding breathing, eating, and thinking and drinking. Still, the thought or desire or expectation of the person will greatly increase the amount of prana absorbed. And in like manner, will the desire or will of the person greatly multiply the force with which a thought is projected, as it largely increases the amount of prana with which the thought is charged. To speak more plainly, if one will form a mental image of the absorption of prana while breathing, eating, or drinking, he will bring into operation certain occult laws which will tend to release a greater amount of prana from its confining matter, and he will be greatly strengthened in consequence. Try an experiment of taking a few deep breaths, holding the mental image that you're absorbing an amount of prana with each inward breath. You will feel an influx of new strength. This is worth trying when you are tired and exhausted. Likewise, drink slowly a cup of water, forming the mental image that you are extracting from the water a great supply of prana, which is stored up in it, and you will experience a similar result. Likewise, in eating, if you will masticate your food slowly, holding a mental image that you're extracting the strength of the prana in the food, you will receive a much greater percent of nourishment and strength from the food than you would in the ordinary way. These things are helpful. We hope that you try them and use them when you need them. Do not let the simplicity of these things cause you to undervalue them. The same law causes a thought projected with the mental image that is heavily charged with prana to attain a greater velocity and force than an ordinary thought, and the potency will be greater increased by this practice. But be careful not to send forth evil thoughts this way. Read your lesson on thought dynamics, fifth lesson, carefully and heed the warnings contained therein. See how much more we have left.
We have a lot more. Do you want to just pause here for today?
Yeah, okay. So we're on the beginning of page 106.
This chapter just feels so long to me.
It does feel long.
I think it's like a shorter chapter too. I'm looking. No, it's not. Some are like 11, some are 10, some are 12 pages. We still have like another good amount to go. We'll finish it on Monday. I think it's just a subject. It's not as fun as the other ones to me.
Yeah. It's a little bit harder to grasp.
Yeah, I love the sentence you read. Do not let the simplicity of these things cause you to undervalue them. Like
Yeah.
sometimes it's just so simple. Like just drink a cup of water and you'll feel better.
Yeah, but also the part of acknowledging that it's bringing you strength.
Well, I don't
I
mean,
never do that.
I meant like in like whenever, yeah, that's like the extra stuff. But like how many times I'm sitting here and I'm cranky or I'm tired or something, and I just drink a glass of water and I'm like, oh, all my problems are solved. Like
Yeah.
I was just thirsty, you know. But yeah, no, and then I didn't highlight much in this chapter because even the first time I read it, it probably didn't stick too much. But it prana depends very considerably upon the desires and expectations of the person, both in the matter of his absorption and its projection with a thought wave. So, like what you're saying, like it's not the prana is in the water, but unless we choose to extract it, unless our desire is there and our expectation to refill up our own prana, we might completely miss the whole point.
Yeah.
Be aware of it.
Yeah, that's something to try. I don't think I've ever really done that.
No, I definitely haven't. And especially with the water we have here, like I never know where like safe water is. Like, I don't understand why we can't just have like clean drinking water. It's very frustrating.
A truck's going by. Sorry.
It's okay. I don't
So-
hear it on my side.
Oh, good.
I know sometimes trucks go by here and I'm like, oh my God, it is so loud, but I don't think you guys can hear it. Yeah, I think that this is it's good to know, like knowing how to store up your prana. Like especially for moments that you're gonna need it.
Well, I was thinking, like, you've ever been like so sick that you can't really function or think? And I was thinking about like, oh, imagine trying to like send um like a like being strong in your moment when you're sick, and that's something that's like impossible, right? Because I guess because you don't have the prana
Yeah.
there.
Well, your body is too busy like fighting off whatever's going on.
Yeah.
Like I don't get sick. I hardly ever get sick. I was telling this to Eric the other day. Like I don't, because I started like the sneezing thing the other day, so it makes sense that it's something going on in the house. But when I do get sick, you can like feel your body fighting it off. Like you get so exhausted. Like you just have to like lay down. Like you literally can't pull yourself up to do it. Like doing the simplest chore is like running a marathon. But
Yeah.
yeah, like even I'm trying to think of like an example, but like like if you have a hard event coming up or something, to like I got to take it easy. Like for me, like I know the week in May is extremely challenging for me. The 7 days between when my mom died and my sister died, like I know that's going to be like emotionally draining on me every year. And even if it doesn't wind up being, I prepare myself for it like it's going to be, because sometimes I can slip into like a temporary depression. And now Kramer's day is 2 days before that. So like I'm already knowing like next year that these like 9 days or so are going to be challenging for me. So like I make sure to meal prep my foods, and I make sure like to like not make any plans that week, and like I make sure to like pre-plan myself. And it's, to me, it's almost like a storing of the prana just to carry me through in a somewhat healthy way, so that I'm still eating healthy, I'm still moving and I'm walking and I'm doing yoga, and I do this all beforehand so that when I'm there and I tell people, like I just tell people around me, because I need those people to keep sending me their prana. Like I need people to send me their own energy, because I'm not going to be able to generate mine. And sometimes I've done such a good job, I guess, that it's fine. But other times, like it's really hard for me. So like if you have something coming up, we have this ability, we have this desire to set up the expectation for ourselves.
Yeah.
And it works the other way. Like you think about when you book a trip, right? And like the excitement of like, I always say like the trip itself isn't always the fun part. It's it's that building of prana beforehand. It's the like researching where you're gonna eat and what you're gonna pack and all that stuff. Like you know that feeling.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be a trip, it could be anything. Like, oh, you're excited to go see a movie at the theater or go out to your favorite restaurant to eat a meal. Like that looking forward to feeling could be possibly storing up some good prana
Yep.
if you're aware of it.
Yeah. No,
Taking
being aware of it, I think, is really key.
Yeah.
Being aware of when it's low and when it's high. What did
But
you
I
think?
think
I'm curious to what Monica thought of the chat, of what we read today. Any thoughts?
you're on mute. Monica, you're on mute.
Still on mute.
You're still on mute. Here, hold on. Let me see. I just asked you to
Hey,
unmute.
Lauren. Oh,
Hi, Lauren.
Hi, sorry guys, my friend was doing a fundraiser, so I was there.
no problem.
Monica, I can't hear you.
It's definitely the mute button.
Yeah, I hit X to unmute. Oh, no,
So muted.
no, it says, I see the, so weird.
Lauren, that's like a real pool. I thought all week it was a really cool background.
Funny. Yes, it is.
I was like, oh, what a pretty background. It was so pretty. I'm like, that can't be real.
Grateful for it. It's nice to be
Oh,
here.
that's nice.
Just the sound of water like relaxes
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, that's what I decided. While Monica figures out her mic, that was what got me to start house hunting, because we were gonna move to Long Beach, but I was like, wait, I need to have a pool. Like, I don't know why I've waited this long in my life to wake up. Like, all of a sudden one day I was just like, oh wait, I can have a pool if I want one.
Yeah.
So we did. Yeah, so I definitely have to have a pool. My must is a pool.
You could always put one in, I guess,
Well,
after.
yeah, it has to have the land to put a pool, but I'd
Yeah.
rather just buy one that has it already.
That's what.
But Long Beach, your backyard is the beach.
I know, but I have a lot of pros and cons with Long Beach, so I
Sure.
Well, you have the best of both worlds then, the pool in your backyard and then the beach.
well, we won't live in Long Beach because we can't afford a pool in Long Beach, but we're
Oh.
gonna pick a town up here.
Oh, well, then the driving distance to the beach is cool too.
Yeah, and my house in North Carolina is already on the beach, so like, I mean, do I
Yeah.
really need to have two beach houses?
Having one beach house is good.
I know, and realistically, like, if you think about how often you're really going to go to the beach living in Long Beach, it's probably Eric lived in Long Beach when we first started dating, and he never went to the beach. We never went to the beach when he lived there. Anyway,
Wow.
that's a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, Monica, I don't know why I hit S to unmute and it's still not.
Oh, it's okay. Don't stress.
Yeah, don't drain your prana over this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna guide us through breath work soon anyway. Yeah, so we read a little bit about human magnetism and storing up our prana today, Lauren. Like, just being conscious of, like, when you're drinking water, abstracting the prana from it, and when you're eating foods, like being mindful and chewing your food and slowing down and really getting the nutrients out of it.
I love
And what I wanted to say to that too, Domenica, was like, we got to be careful that we're storing good prana, because there's probably bad prana too, and we got to make sure we're cleaned inside. Like that idea of like a messy closet that you just keep storing stuff in,
Yeah.
you know, like that's not gonna be healthy for you either. Yeah, like collecting dust in your house will cause you to stay up all night sneezing apparently, and having a watery running nose. So you gotta clean out the prana and the dust. This is such a weird thing that Monica's having though. You want to disconnect and rejoin us? Okay, she's going to disconnect and rejoin, and then she can share, and we'll move on to breath and meditation.
Speaking of prana, there's a bunch of ants marching around, like the whole, like it's a big yard, and they're all carrying like things bigger than their body weight. Like, you know how ants do that.
Yeah,
I just think it's amazing. I'm watching them. They're like
that's so cool.
perfect like path all together.
That is so cool.
It is.
I saw them doing that one time outside my house. They were all over the sidewalk, and I was like, "Oh, that's so cool!" Like ahimsa, don't kill the ants. They're outside. And then next thing I knew, I had 10,000 ants forming a line. I took a picture of it. It was a black line down my basement wall onto my basement floor, and they just died. I was like, "What the heck, guys? I told you to stay outside." And I'm like, I have to vacuum you up now because you can't live in here. This is not your home.
Oh,
So you got to tell the ants to stay outside.
I know. Problem. Yeah, when that happens.
I was like, I'm trying to practice ahimsa and not kill you, but we can't have an ant farm in my basement.
No.
I had to check my phone to see if it was Friday because I think we were confused as to what day it was all week. And I'm like, please don't let it still be Thursday. But yeah, it's Friday.
Oh, so happy.
How are you feeling today, Lauren? Are you feeling better?
I am. I'm feeling a lot better. I mean, I was up late last night, but thank you. I'm feeling a lot better.
Okay, good.
Good.
It was funny. I was with my girlfriend yesterday, and I mean, obviously, physically, she's beautiful, but I told her, like, I describe her as like, she has the most beautiful energy that I've ever met in my life. Like and I said to her, I'm like, I told her to join us next week. I said, she's very into like energy, and she's taking a Reiki training.
Oh, cool.
Yes. And I was saying to her, you have to protect your energy because people like want to take your energy. Like, even I have my own energy, and I see your energy and I love it. But I can see how people can be so drawn to it. Like, it's like, if I could describe it physically, it's like colors and beauty, and I just feel it. Maybe it's my attraction to her energy, but she said she gets that a lot. Like, kind of like Amanda said, like, Amanda has a really strong energy because she's really, I mean, we all do, but like, I just noticed that in her, and I'm like, you have to protect your energy. And after our conversation yesterday.
Does she feel like she does do that, or does she feel drained all the time?
She feels drained. She said she feels that way. She said she's a giver, and she just can't say no to giving that energy. And I said, you have to. I'm like, sometimes.
Yeah, because it'll make herself sick.
Yes. And she is very sick. She sees like a holistic doctor. She can't even like digest food sometimes. And I really have to think that it's about her energy.
Yeah.
Wow.
She's taking on too much from other people. Like, she's taking on their illness.
Yeah.
And that's what we were just reading today, like how this is like literally stored in our stomach. And like, it is such a sensitive area.
The
And
power.
really, it's like, I thought it was funny yesterday. Domenica's like, I'm angry all the time. And I'm like, just eat cucumbers. Like, make it simplify.
I felt better yesterday. I stayed away from tomatoes. I was like, no tomatoes.
Yeah. And I'm like, it's so much more complex than that. But like, it's like the book said, like, if we start simple and go from there, like, maybe it isn't that big of an issue. Now I feel bad Monica's not joining. Like, I don't want to feel bad, but I just do.
Yeah.
Like, I hope what's going on? I don't want to delay us too much today.
She couldn't figure it out.
I'm probably gonna put the soccer game back on as my meditation today. So I'll guide us through breath work, and I will I feel like that'll fill me up with prana. And then I'll watch the waiting room, see if she comes back. But I'll lead us through breath. I'm not gonna do it today because I'm having this like, I need to clean my house. My nose is leaking attack. I need to change the filters. I don't ever get allergies, so I don't know what's going on. But I think I'm in dire need to clean today. All right, so let's sit up nice and tall. We'll take a few breaths in through the nose and out through the nose. Although when I woke up in the night, I had to take a shower and like steam it out. I sat there and held my nostril, and like, it really did help. Like, I was doing pranayama in the middle of the night. I'm like, just breathe. And then I was able to pass out again.
Do you
All
have
right.
those cardamom seeds? You should make a tea with that and ginger.
I just made turmeric and ginger, which is what I have every morning. I have to drink that. And I have this breathe oil from like doTERRA. So I've been putting that on my nose with Vaseline.
Okay.
Like, I'm like making my own vapor rub concoction.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. That should help. Even some fresh air might help. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I don't feel sick. So my energy hasn't been depleted. So that's like the weird part of it. It's just like, it just keeps leaking. Or I keep having a sneeze attack.
Yeah.
I feel like we tricked Monica, like, leave the meeting.
Poor
I've seen
Monica.
I've seen
I
her.
just wanted to hear her opinion.
I
I don't
know.
want her to feel left out.
I've seen her in other yoga classes. She took my class last night, so I'll check in with her next time I see her. Or
Okay.
maybe we'll join next week. All right, so let's sit up nice and tall. Take a few breaths in through the nose and out through the nose. Just beginning to notice any sounds around you. Notice the temperature of the air on the skin. Notice any smells you have going on. Bringing attention closer and closer to the body. Noticing what mind thoughts are flowing, just not attaching yourself to them. Lengthening the breath in, letting the belly button come out, and then pulling the belly button in and up under the ribs as you exhale. And staying with this nice long circle of breath, you might move to alternate nostril breath, bringing your right hand to the face. You'll close the right nostril with the thumb, inhale through the left. Close left with the ring finger, exhale out the right. Inhale right. Close right, exhale left. Inhale left. Close left, exhale right. Inhale right. Close right, exhale left. You can continue on like this, or I'll guide you through some holding and retention. Inhale left. Close and hold. You might drop the chin down. Lift the chin, exhale out the right. Inhale right. Close the right. Hold the breath. Drop the chin, engage the locks. Lift the chin, exhale left. Inhale left. Close left. Hold the breath. Drop the chin, engage the locks. Lift the chin, exhale right. Inhale right. Close right, hold the breath, drop the chin, engage the locks. Lift the chin, exhale left. One more round, inhale left. Hold and drop the chin. Lift the chin, exhale right. Inhale right. Close and hold. Exhale left. If you want to continue on a few more rounds of breath, you can. I'm setting the timer for our meditation. 20 minutes. bringing hands to your heart. Namaste.